Listen, it's hot out. Leave me alone. Couch Chess is not even wearing the sweater right now.
It's like a spicy meatball in here.
All right, time for a review of the new Chemical Brothers record. Born in the Echoes. The Chemical Brothers are an electronic music duo hailing from the UK, known for their essential contributions to big beat and pop-infused electronic music in the 1990s. Not only through records like Surrender and Dig Your Own Hole, but also fantastic singles like Galvanized and Hey Boy, Hey Girl, Setting Sun, Black Rockin' Beats! And even though Chemical Brothers are not as trendy as they used to be, even in the wake of EDM, oddly enough. Though I wouldn't really say there was a period where, like, all of a sudden the Chemical Brothers became old hat. Like, they never really were defined by just one single sound or style. I've always thought that each one of their records had a pretty diverse array of sounds on them. There are a few Chemical Brothers records that I think stylistically are more focused than the others in their discography, but for the most part, the duo has always dabbled in a myriad of different styles, from house music to a variety of different breakbeat electronic styles of music, techno and pop, and hip-hop too. And on this latest record over here, I think they've just delivered another very versatile set of bangers with very groovy breakbeats, with thunderous bass and kick drums, some ear-piercing synths and builds as well. Most of the time, this record is the definition of explosive, which comes through right on the opening track here. Sometimes I feel so deserted, which has these numerous layers of sound which stack up taller than a mountain, and this track is also like wider than a couple city blocks. It's a monstrous starter. And the Chemical Brothers maintain that larger-than-life sound even on some of the more accessible tracks here, like the song Go with Q-Tip, which again is one of the catchier tracks on here, would work great in a club setting or like at a festival or something like that. And Q-Tip's performance on here is pretty great. I mean, the lyrics occasionally, especially on the hook, are kind of cliche, especially as throughout the song he's just mentioning everybody, 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 everybody. So we're just 2 tracks into this record and we already have a very direct, catchy, poppy cut off of this LP, as well as a more textured, noisy, abstract song. And with each track, Chemical Brothers do a great job of just keeping up the energy, keeping these songs visceral. And many of these songs throughout this record are, and they just kind of slide back and forth on that more accessible, catchy, poppy, abstract, weird, left field spectrum. Some of the songs in the track listing here I would say are even more left field than the intro, like Under Neon Lights with St. Vincent, which features these driving kicks in the instrumental as well as like these little fruity melodies, and when the verse kicks in we're getting even more just kind of colorful, very sweet, I guess is the word I would use, these little cycling tiny little melodic phrases which sound like they might be coming from a guitar. And St. Vincent's vocals are very oddly harmonized. There's a real sourness to her voice, and underneath these vocals she's even giving a bit of a spoken word. And even though some of the vocal passages here with all the layers and the spoken word do come off as a bit of a mess, I do think this track did make for a good song and a good feature and was a necessary moment for the track listing here. We have the song I'll See You There, which is a moment of like psychedelic rock, like a psych rock jam that goes harder, even harder than some of these new psych rock revivalists that are out there right now. Kind of crazy, but still a good track and an unexpected turn for the track listing. The song Just Bang is this hard-nosed, very grimy, very gritty, just tough as nails techno track with a booming, huge beat, just really pummeling. Loved that cut. And then the song Taste of Honey is kind of like the salmon dance of the record, one of those songs that you hear on a Chemical Brothers where you know the lyrics are subpar and you know the instrumental is subpar, but the song topic is just so weird and funny that it slightly makes up for it in a way. Though the very slow, spacious, lumbering beat on this track did make this song a bit of a slog, although this track does kind of introduce a series of slightly more toned down tracks that end the album, like the title track on here with Kate LeBon, who Her performance actually fits the very quirky, dark, nocturnal instrumental here perfectly, with these buzzing bass synth leads toward the end of the track that sound fantastic. The song is almost post-punky in a sense. The song Reflection, though, is a very pretty piece of house music with some glossy synth leads, and yeah, I guess I just kind of wish this song went a little harder, was a little more aggressive. Reminds me of something off the last John Hopkins record, in a way. The song Radiate was a very blissful ascent of a track. I mean, it really builds up and sounds very heavenly. I mean, Radiate is a very appropriate title on this song, and I love the way the song just blossoms after kind of a series of intro beats and kind of a verse, and all of a sudden you're getting these fuzzed out, just searing synth leads that are just burn my ears, but simultaneously they are gorgeous. And the song would have made for a pretty nice closer if not for the cut that actually ends this track with a Beck feature on it. And I don't know, I just kind of found his voice on this track, while his singing wasn't terrible, I just thought his delivery was a little inconspicuous, kind of anonymous. If you weren't telling me that this was Beck, I would not have guessed it was Beck. But for the most part, I wouldn't say there's any one vocal feature that really kind of stands out and steals the show, aside from Q-Tips. I think a lot of the vocal guests on this record, again, while they're not bad, they just kind of play second fiddle to Chemical Brothers' production, which if that's really what you want to hear, then maybe that's not really a bad position for these people to be in. In one breath, I wish that some of the vocal performances here were just bolder, especially when it comes to the guests. But then again, I guess it's good that no one guest is kind of stealing away from the flavor of the record, and the album feels pretty uniform, even though we are getting a series of different vocals across the album. It does feel pretty uniform in a sense, even though we are getting a series of different vocalists across the album. I mean, this is pretty much everything I would want from a modern Chemical Brothers record. There were a few duds in the track listing here, but I think the duo show that they can still write hits, or at least write songs that feel and sound like hits and have that hit quality to them, as well as pulling together some very engaging, weird, more left-fielded deep cuts. Feeling a decent to strong 7 on this LP. Transition. Have you given this record a listen? What'd you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano. Chemical Brothers. Forever. Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and before we close this video out, I wanted to say that I have a new website I would like you to visit that I built through Squarespace, and I'm very happy with it. And you yourself can build a website via Squarespace if you would like, through a link I will leave down there in the description box. This website is trusted by millions of people and brands, including myself, and it starts at $8 a month, and you get a free domain if you sign up for a year. Again, link to Squarespace, a link to build your own website over there down in the description box. And while we're here, I wanted to tell you that I will also leave a link down there to a little playlist we have put up over there. My managing editor, Austen, who writes quite a bit for the website and has collaborated with me on a lot of different lists and has been a big help to the Needle Drop over the years. He has put up his mid-year favorites list. I put out my mid-year favorites. Now these are his mid-year favorites, and his taste is even more left field than mine a lot of the time. So go check out his list. You'll probably find some very odd and interesting picks in his playlist of his list of his favorite records of the year so far. And that's it. You're the best. Thank you. Anthony Fantano, website, forever.